What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. We are working on this 2001 Suburban that still happens to be attached to my boat. We have this left rear wheel off because we are in need of some brakes. We're actually going to do both sides. These are the dual piston calipers, so make sure you get the right pads. There's 3 different versions, I guess. Mine are pretty simple. So yeah, make sure you get the right rotor and the right pads. These rotors are shot, but I'm actually going to reuse it because this thing doesn't really move very often. I tow the boat about 2 miles away, so that's about all this thing does for right now. But this is the Suburban that I talked about in the previous video about maybe building a little pre-runner type setup. This thing's pretty much been retired except for towing the boat back and forth, so we might have some fun with it later on, but we're going to dive right into it. So make sure and jack it up. I have it jacked up on the pumpkin, and I put a jack stand on both sides. Make sure you always support your vehicle with jack stands. And for this, you just need the right socket for the lugs, which mine's a 19 because I have these 20s on it. And then there is a 12mm bolt that holds the 12mm bolt that holds the caliper onto the bracket. And then I have a disc brake tool, and I also use a pry bar sometimes too. Make sure you grease your slides when you put it back together. But I'll get you in position and we'll come back. Alright, so here we go. I actually pre-loosened those up. I replaced this caliper a couple years ago. But this truck has 280,000 miles on it right now. So it's seen its use for sure. My little bracket bent, so it's been a pain in the ass to get the old pads out of it, which is always fantastic. Then we take this nifty little tool. I'm going to grab one of the old pads and push the caliper back in with it. I actually have a snap-on tool that does both at the same time, but this one was easily accessible, so I just grabbed it. So you just got to go back and forth a little bit, and life is happy. Sorry, I'm sweating like a pig. It's 95 degrees out right now. And because my dumb ass has the boat still on the damn thing, I can't get it in the garage, in the shop, so we're stuck doing it outside. And I'm actually going to replace this rotor. It's really bad. I didn't notice how bad it was. But the backside's actually probably only a few millimeters thick. I let somebody borrow this thing and maintenance wasn't exactly done well on it, so I'm paying for it now. So I'm going to put the pads on it, and I'll come back through and hopefully tomorrow put a new rotor on this side. I'm gonna go grab the pads. I'll be right back. Nothing fancy, just OE replacement pads. Most of the time there's only one squealer on it, but these ones there's a squealer on both sides, so it doesn't really matter on this one. If you only have one squealer, put it on the back. Here's your slide. Those ones are still greased pretty good. So since I'm going to have it back apart, I'm not going to worry about greasing them right now. But my bottom one's froze, so I got to get that out. 5/8 inch wrench to get onto these slides. I'm hoping, yep, I can break this one loose pretty easy. It spins pretty good still, so hopefully it's not too bad. So I'm just going to grab a hold of a pair of vice grips and yank it out. Yep, she's pretty rusty. So I'm going to throw some grease on it and throw her back in there for now, and I'll deal with it tomorrow. I filled the boot up with some grease. And now I'm just going to work that back and forth a little bit. That way it's not seized in there still. You need those to move freely in and out. And she's moving pretty good now. But like I said, I'll clean that up a little bit more tomorrow. I just want to be able to move this thing tonight. Make sure you're putting that on back the right way. And also, if you need to, you can use your 5/8 as a backup, so you can tighten those. Don't ever tighten them though, because those don't have to be super tight. They do have a thread locker on them, so they won't back out. But that side's done. I'm going to move back over to the other side, and we'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. I'm going to get this into... There we go. So, I have these loose. Oh, thought I did. These wheels are in horrible shape. There we go. These wheels have seen a lot of Iowa winters, that's for damn sure. They are in rough shape though. So, let's start by loosening these 12 mils on the bracket up. Actually, ripped my glove. I use these cheap blue gloves, but because they're cheap, they don't hold up very well. But the price is right, so that's all that matters. We're actually going to use a little pry bar. And pull that away from the rotor a little bit. And this rotor isn't much better than the other one, so looks like I might be replacing two of them. Normally, I would put some grease on the front of these pads like that, to help with limiting vibration and whatnot. But since I'm going to have this apart again, I'm not putting anything on them. I always use one of the old pads right here, because on some of these cars, that inside of that piston is easy to break through, so I always just use a pad as a little helper to push against. Doing brakes on these trucks, just like the Silverados or the Tahoes are the same also. They're super simple, so even if you don't feel like you're qualified, you're not really getting in over your head. Only time you can screw up, really, is if you try to pull the bleeder and you strip it. The older Chevy trucks and, well, really any older vehicle, they're notorious for stripping those little 10 or 8 mil bleeder screws. And if you strip one of those, I've only successfully gotten a couple of them out. You might as well just plan on replacing the caliper, and that's never freaking fun. So just don't mess with it. Unless you absolutely have to, leave the system closed. You need to do a brake flush or something, then you can open it. I almost forgot to check these slides out. This one's actually kind of seized. This is the factory caliper and bracket, so they're a little different size anyway. It's not all rusted, it's just the grease is super dry, so we're just gonna shove a little more grease in there and Call it good for now. If I wasn't gonna have it apart again, we'd be doing this a little different. I would be cleaning all this stuff up real nice and but since we're gonna be tearing it apart again, I just want to get it back on the ground. And that's about it. So that's what we're focusing on. That one's super dry too. I use the same grease in all my stuff, from the dirt bikes to the four-wheelers to the trucks to the cars. It's all just a red high temp all-purpose grease. Always works well, so this is what I use. Sometimes the pads will come with new hardware. If they do, I recommend installing that also. Mine did not. I bought the cheaper pads for this. Because I didn't see a point in spending $50 on something that doesn't move a whole lot. And there we have it. I'll go through and put the wheels back on it. One bit of advice: whenever you go through and do brake work, do not shove it in gear and try to go. You're gonna feel sorry pretty quick, because you need to pump those brakes before you go. Otherwise, it's not going to stop. So make sure to always pump your brakes before you try to go. Other than that, like, comment, ask questions. If you guys have any questions, shoot me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Other than that, we're going to start tearing apart the LS, the 5.3. We'll get that thing going. And I need to decide if I'm going to use 256 or if I'm going to go with a Nissan transmission for the Camaro. But we have a few things in store, so we're going to keep chugging away. I'm actually also going to do a video on the transmission removal on the RAV4, and then I got to do some upholstery work on the boat and get some more work done. But like, comment, subscribe. Deuces, guys.